Yeah, thanks for having me. It's great to see everybody that's logged in here. Wow, we got a lot of people joining the webinar today. Hope everybody's having a great summer. It is a balmy 99 degrees here in Texas, so we're happy that that cold front has blown in and we're able to kind of take a break from the heat. So, but yeah, hope you guys are having a good summer, and we got a lot of good information to cover here.
You bet. Well, I was just telling them about some of the things that you do and manage here, and especially with our social media team. I noticed that today, whenever I went on there, the top part of what you have on there actually is a pinned tweet up there, is revenue cycle management market expected to boom in coming years. And I know I've talked with a few folks even this last week is, you know, what articles are out there on the internet and maybe even magazines that actually tells me as someone that has a potential licensee of American Business System, what's the information out there that literally tells me that a doctor might even need me?
Well, we've got a lot of stats and information we're going to share today on the webinar. But yeah, I actually pinned that article to the top of the Twitter feed that we have there because it has some really good information about just the overall growth of revenue cycle management. And that's people, a lot of people maybe on this webinar or other people that are looking at this opportunity, they're kind of stuck on that term, you know, medical billing. You know, they think, okay, well, I want to get into medical billing. I want to do insurance claims for doctors. And a lot of people don't realize that that's not going to cut it. If you go to school for medical billing, if you take some courses, classes, whatever on medical billing, I mean, you'll have some good technical knowledge there for sure, but doctors need help in many other ways outside of just sending claims in, you know, to the insurance company and following up on that. So that's what revenue cycle is and management is, and we're going to talk about that today, how it starts with everything all the way from the very first phone call from a brand new patient and how that's handled to, you know, how the insurance is verified and making sure that they have good coverage, and then you know, the encounter with the patient that the doctor does in, you know, in the exam room, and then the claim and on and on and on, and how that's processed. So there's a whole cycle there that we go through that our system, our program helps people and helps doctors improve every area of that. So
you bet. Yeah, absolutely. So again, folks, if you haven't gotten on any of our feeds here, the Twitter feed or the Facebook feed, get on there, because again, with what Adam's doing and managing this whole part of our business, you got to get this, because for those that are looking for data and information to see if this is the right market for you, that's what we're doing. So could you go over there and join us on that? Also, to let you know that right over there where your question box is, underneath that, you should see a place over there for handouts. Now, there is what we've done, we've created a PDF for that. And I think, Adam, you even have a hard copy of that in front of you. So folks, you know, you can go look at that PDF, pull that down, and you can print that out for yourselves for later. And it's just some, maybe even taking notes throughout the webinar today. So please do that. Hey, Adam, before we get kicked off on the whole area about how much money can actually be made, I'd like to talk about, you know, first of all, let's discuss, is there actually a market for medical billing? Again, we kind of touched on that a little bit about that one article. And I know we've all been kind of kicking around some ideas of some future webinars that we want to do. But I think if we can have everybody look over at this pie chart, basically half of this pie chart deals with the three major areas of what we consider to be in medical billing. You got hospital billing, you got doctor billing, and you have dental billing. Why don't you kind of break those down for us, and maybe why we focused our attention just on the doctor billing?
Yeah, I mean, without getting too deep on this, I mean, there is a ton of money being thrown around in the healthcare industry right now, and every single year it's growing. It's just growing. You know, where we're headed, who knows? Who knows where we're headed? I don't have a crystal ball. But I know that right now, and within the past several years up to now and into the foreseeable future, people like our licensees have a niche where they are able to go into the market, into the small, mostly to small to medium-sized private practices, and really have a positive impact on their revenue and help them and make good money in the process. I mean, so we're going to go through the rest of these slides, and you'll see what we're talking about as we go here. But yeah, tons of it's a big part of that pie that our licensees, if they just get a little bitty slice of that, they can do pretty well in this business.
You bet.
Yeah.
And again, as Adam said, we're going to really be focusing on basically 3 facts about hospital billing, doctor billing, and dental billing. Folks, you can see that out of the whole pie of the whole medical industry, there's only about 4% of that money that's actually with dental billing. So that maybe help give you a little clue why we kind of really focus our attention on the doctor billing. And in a future webinar, we'll actually talk about why we focus on doctor billing, not necessarily on hospital billing. So just be looking out for that. I got a text in here from Kent saying that he lost all volume. He was asking if it's just him. So folks, if you guys could just, those that are on here today, just make sure that if you can hear us, just say, yes, I can hear you. I just want to make sure that we didn't lose the volume for everybody. So if we could get a couple of feet, okay, great. Omar says he can hear us, so good. So hopefully Kent, yes, so good. Okay, thanks guys. I appreciate you doing that. One of the other things about, is there actually a market for that, for medical billing? Besides just checking us out, Entrepreneur Magazines has put out a book just on start your own medical claims billing service. And, you know, in this article, Adam, it talks about the market for medical billing is just still exploding in here, and up to 55.8% growth through the year 2024. And I mean, we're talking, like it says here, trillions of dollars out there in the healthcare industry.
Yep, that's right. It just keeps on growing, and that's specifically, this article is talking about just one service out of 9 different revenue cycle management services that we have. I mean, this article is specifically referring to helping doctors with their medical insurance claim filing.
You bet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know you and I and everybody here else on our team, we kind of really watched Black Book research, and you know, Doug Brown says, you know, outsourcing solutions is still on the rise here, and we've got a few statistics here. So as we kind of go through this, and this one right here, Adam, we know that we're right in the middle of this. So from Q4 2016 to through Q1 2019, there's an overall 42% growth rate, in which when they come out with their new research, I'm sure it's just going to keep going up.
I mean, all I can do really is look at our numbers of our company and what our licensees are doing, and we're absolutely on track with those numbers right there. I mean, we're getting close to Q1 2019 as it is right now, and we are seeing that type of growth. It's just amazing the number of doctors that our licensees are helping right now.
And again, we're trying to give you just some third-party information that's outside of American business systems to see whether this is a real business, because before we actually dive into, again, the type of money that you can make, let's just see again, is there an industry, is there a slice of this pie, as Adam said, that you can jump into? And if you do take that handout, folks, you can see up at the top of this particular slide, you see that I've already got that URL up there that you can go dive into and really look into this market of revenue cycle management. What that market looks like is that, you know, it's just in the huge numbers, as some folks would say. Even Mike Inger from Abia Code says that, you know, the average physician could actually increase their monthly billing by up to 30% if they could just get their coding done right. And Adam, you mentioned that that's one of our particular services that we actually have.
Yep, this is one service out of our suite of products that we're going to talk about here in a moment, is just specifically the medical coding, and the fact that our licensees don't have to know jack squat about coding. So that's right. The good part is you can go through our 5-day class and you can promote your company as a certified coding company, but you yourself as a licensee don't have to go to 2 years of coding school. We take care of all the technical part for you on that service. Yeah, so it's pretty cool.
And then, folks, if you can't take our word for it or anybody else's word for it, my goodness, you ought to at least take the New England Journal's quote for this. And their market analysis estimates that 24 cents out of every dollar are just absolutely wasted on administrative and billing expenses. And Adam, you know, I know that I went to school, but I wasn't that great in math, but I do know that 24 cents out of a dollar is 24%. And our licensees are actually doing billing for 6 to 7%. So obviously you can actually create some more money for the doctor.
Yep, they're spending a lot of money in order to collect their money.
Yeah.
And so that's what we help them look at when we do some of the things that we'll show you, like a practice analysis and such. We show them that, you know what, your processes are inefficient. 9 times out of 10, when we do an analysis for a doctor's practice, their processes are inefficient, and we can show them how to shore that up.
Right. Yeah. All right. So here's where we're starting from today, everybody. So this is where we're kind of zero in on those that are listening to us live, and obviously those that will listen to us later on in the repeat of our recording. But there's an investment here, Adam, of $26,990, so $27,000. Basically, the question that everybody has: how quickly can I at least get to a break even on my investment?
Yes. Now, I don't know if that number is a shock to anybody who's just joining us for the first time and never been on any webinars, but that investment range for a franchise or business opportunity, we are on the absolute low end of what it typically costs to start a new business, like a franchise. So that's what we're going to show you, is what your break even is and how quickly you can get there, because you're going to be really surprised. We're going to show you here in a moment the numbers. We're going to show you the hard numbers of what our licensees are currently earning on the clients that they have, and show you the differences between different types of specialties that you can work for, and what kind of revenue you can generate on different specialties and stuff like that. So yeah, so we have licensees right now that are seeing an ROI in a year or less with just one client. That's it.
Yes.
I don't know of any other opportunity, any franchise that can say you've got your ROI, you've got your money back in less than a year with just one client. I mean, it's just pretty unheard of. So
yeah. So folks, again, we're just going to really kind of work our attention on what we like to try to look at here is what can we do to help you get that first client. And that's what our whole focus is on our training mechanism, is to get you that first client, because we know once you get that first client, that's actually going to replace that. Adam, before we get started in that, I just want to make sure that there was at least one question back up here that I wanted to get through. And I believe, Ephraim, you're asking, can I use this business with salons, I guess massage or beauty industry, as a means of collecting for services? I think the only one that you could do there is with obviously one that would do massages, because I think there's one of our licensees that actually does billing for a couple of people that are like that, because that's an actual medical necessity that doctors have to maybe prescribe as doing some of the billing for. So hopefully that answers your question, but I don't know anything about salons or the beauty industry, so it can be for maybe for that.
I mean, we have ancillary services for some of those types of businesses, but there's not a lot of money there, but you could offer some of our ancillary services to them. But yeah, you're right. I mean, basically anyone who's filing medical claim forms is a potential client. So it's outside of, of physicians, of course, but like durable medical equipment companies, pharmacies, ambulatory labs, anyone who's filing medical claims is going to be your primary target.
You bet. Very good. All right, so let's get started here. So folks, one of the things we want to show you here is at least where you can go play with some of these numbers yourself. And Adam, if you wanted to kind of just work our way through these next couple of slides and talk about what they need to do to look at this income potential through the medical billing income calculator.
Yeah, don't do it right now, but whenever this webinar is over, go to our website, absystems.com. There's a link right there. There's a screenshot. Just click on income potential, and then you can click on a couple of different calculators there. And there's one that actually shows you how much do medical billers make. And so you can actually plug in some numbers to play around with. Okay, so if I had, 3 doctors, average number of patients, 20, 25 a day, the average number of days, the doctor is working. There's some numbers in there right now where you can just hit submit and it'll show you the numbers, but you can play around with those. So, and those are real figures that we get from licensees that are telling us this is what I'm doing right now. I have an account where I'm charging 6% for this doctor, and his average claim amount is about $100. And so, they're making roughly $6 a claim, and So we can get into the numbers here when we do the math. But yeah, you can go out there and play with the numbers yourself, as well as, I don't know if you did a screenshot, but there's a income replacement calculator as well. So in other words, how many clients do I need to replace the income that I make now? So there's another calculator that would help you with that.
Yeah, I only did with just the medical billing and income calculator, and I wanted to start off there because of what the screenshot that you and I looked at earlier about the return on the investment. So folks, what we wanted to present to you right now, just by utilizing the income potential calculator that we have on our website, with one doctor, I'll go back over here, one doctor that will see 25 patients a day, are open 5 days a week, you're going to be charging that 6% at $100, and that's fairly average with a normal general practitioner. And then you get to this screen here that shows that a total gross income for that is right at $39,000. So as Adam mentioned to you, that's why we want to help you get that first doctor, because you can make up to $40,000 with one doctor, and your investment was 27. Adam, that's over. You're not only have you recovered your investment, but now you're starting to get into the black.
Yeah. Now, some people maybe on this webinar are looking at that number going, all right, now how exactly did we get to $39,000 a year? Are you going to break it down for us, Eric?
You bet. That's what we're going to do. So I'm glad that we can do that, because again, it's pretty simple math as we kind of look at this. So if we take a regular family general practitioner, a family doctor, that's going to see about 25 patients a day. Adam, before I jump in here with this $100 number, we can, maybe you and I kind of bounce around the idea that there is a claim fee that goes out, but then what's actually reimbursed is what the doctor's actually getting. So there's a submitted fee that goes out to the insurance companies that could average $100 and $175, but what actually comes back to the doctor as the reimbursed amount from the insurance companies for a general practitioner is going to average right about $100. And that's, again, I think you and I and the rest of the team, we're getting these numbers directly from our licensees. So that's how we've come up with $100. So I've had some people ask me, is that $100 the actual reimbursed amount? And I bet you that's about as close as we can get to it for a family practitioner, because even paying cash, I know that if I go to the doctor today, I'm going to spend $100 there on average.
Wait, so you're saying doctors don't get paid 100% of what they send in to insurance companies?
That's a great question. Well, if you think about it, that a doctor, as a patient, we always have this thing called a copay, which is part of what a revenue cycle management company will make sure that doctor's actually collecting. And then they send that claim in, and then the average between the money that the doctor gets from the copay and the actual money that gets reimbursed from the insurance companies actually average out about to $100. So that's a great question.
So our licensees typically, they get paid a percentage of what the doctor ends up getting paid ultimately.
Yeah.
But they can also get paid on money received from the patient's liability as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Patient responsibility, you're watching that money. I was doing a demo with someone today. I think it was Ken. We were doing one today and kind of looking at them. And so we're looking at all the revenue that doctor's collecting, whether it's from the patients and even from the insurance companies. I think we kind of get focused in on just the money from the insurance, but really, it really is managing that money that the doctor needs to collect from the patients as well. A great question. That was awesome. So Kent's asking the question right now, right off the bat, is 20 to 25 high for the amount of patients a doctor will see during a day? You want to take that question, Adam?
No, it's not. I hear doctors all the time that say, family practitioners, general practitioners I'm talking about, 30 patients a day, easy, if not more. So 20 to 25 is very conservative. Now the numbers we're showing you, this is specifically family practice or general practice. Right. So that's why we have that $100 there, because those doctors, typically their claim dollar amounts are lower, around $100 when it's all said and done. Yeah. But if you start talking about specialties, specialists, cardiologists, surgeons, you know, they file a lot higher dollar amount claims, and so you're getting a percentage of that. So you would be typically making more money on those specialty accounts, which we'll show you in a moment. But this is family practice. So yeah,
so,
absolutely. They can see 25, 30 patients a day, no problem.
You bet. So if we take that, again, you can see that the doctors are actually, just from the insurance companies alone, really no patient pays or anything. We're kind of just talking about really what they're getting back from the insurance companies, is roughly about $2,500 a day. Because if you take that 25 patients times $100, dollars per patient, then they're getting about $2,500 a day. And everybody's probably thinking in their heads, man, that's a lot of money for that doctor. But again, they've got a lot of bills to pay. They got employees, office rental space and everything else like that. So you can imagine that these doctors want to get every penny that's owed to them.
Yeah, they have a ton of overhead, and that's one thing that we kind of get into when we're showing them the practice analysis that I mentioned, is helping them identify where all of their money is going and why, and what makes sense to keep doing and what makes sense to maybe eliminate. So that's something that we help out with as well.
So let's keep doing the math. So if we've got 25 patients a day, $100 per patient there, $2,500 a day, and if the doctor is least open, 5 days a week, that's going to be an average of 25 billing days for that month. Well, that's going to come out to $50,000 per month in expected revenue that doctor. Adam, again, from our licensees, the information that we get from our licensees, even the ones that are doing family practices, 50,000 is actually a low number. I think if I can remember hearing, maybe you can help correct me, but I think we hear 60, 65, maybe even $70,000 a month in expected revenue for just a family practice.
Yeah, it all just depends on how busy they are, how popular they are in their neighborhood.
That's right. So again, we're trying to keep it down at the lowest end as possible for you to kind of look at. So now we've got to figure out what the doctor is going to pay you for doing this billing, for managing their revenue. And I think that's the better term we need to talk about is managing this revenue, not necessarily just doing the data entry medical billing, but truly managing that revenue. So if the doctor's getting $2,500 a day and you're doing 6% of that on just a daily basis, your average earnings just on a daily basis is $150 a day for what we consider to be about less than 90 minutes of work. You want to kind of break down what that looks like, where it goes from 90 minutes to maybe 2 hours a day per doctor, Adam?
I mean, I would say that's probably on the high end of typical work time, because the licensees that we talk to now say, I can do a claim in 2 minutes total, one claim. So we're talking about, 25, 30 patients a day, that's an hour. Yeah. So when it's all said and done with the other duties that you have to do as a medical biller, yeah, you could be looking at an hour and a half. But that's it. So one person, doing the work, there's a lot of people on this webinar that are thinking bigger. They're thinking, I'm going to hire people to do this for me, and how many doctors can they handle? Well, one person can handle 7 or 8 doctors probably. The day's work. So it could very, very quickly add up.
And Adam, $150 a day for some people may just be what they need, and even as a part-time gig that they might be working on. So $150 a day, and then let's take that times, again, just do the math here, times 5 days per week, 52 weeks out of the year. There's where we get that $39,000 per doctor per year. So imagine for less than 2 hours a day, you've actually got your whole return on your investment with just this one doctor. And Adam, I know we've all been looking at this because we look at other franchises, other business opportunities about trying to get an ROI. Anything more than or just under 2 years is almost unheard of, and here we can get this done within just about a year.
It sounds too good to be true, Eric. What's the catch?
What's the catch? Oh man, the catch is getting the first doctor, and that's why we really focus in on our attention on that training work to get you that doctor. I mean, I guess, Adam, we could redo our training and just tell people how to do medical billing and post medical claims for 5 days. But if they can't get a doctor, then what else are we doing?
You're exactly right. The hardest part about this business is getting your first client, obviously, and that's the number one question that everybody has. How do I get my first client? What do we do? So that's in our webinar coming up next week.
You bet.
We've done tons of webinars on that, on the marketing methods. So you guys want to definitely go check out our YouTube page or our blog, and you can see how do we actually walk with you hand in hand to get the doctor interested in the system and actually sign on the dotted line. We have a very specific program that we teach you and walk you through. So, you're looking at a good, I mean, if you're doing this full time right out of training, you're looking at a good 60 days, maybe a little bit longer to get your first client. But I mean, all things being equal, that's a pretty good turnaround time on generating revenue for a brand new business that didn't exist, a couple months ago, so yeah.
Hey, Adam, the next 4 slides that we've got here, we're going to be talking about who could be the potential clients for people that are our licensees. And I'm just going to start the slides. You can kind of talk about these as we kind of go through them. But again, folks, just before we get there, just remember that this is where we went. We went to our income potential. These are the numbers, again, that we got there. There's that $39,000, $3,200 a month. So again, we wanted you to kind of go back over into there. But again, Adam, who can be my client? So let's kind of just talk through some of these, because again, first of all, we've just been talking about a family practitioner, and obviously everybody knows about that. So let's kind of talk about these other services that are actually out there for medical billing clients.
Okay, so who is your market? Well, as I mentioned earlier, this isn't, well, maybe I mentioned this. It's not a franchise, first of all, so there are no restrictions in where you market. So you can market to any specialty anywhere in the United States. Allergy, immunology, immunopathology, pediatric allergy, and anesthesiology, critical care medicine, pain management, cardiovascular disease, cardiovascular surgery. Okay, I'm not going to read this whole thing, but you get my drift here. There's several slides that we've got that show you the different specialties that you may never even heard of. Some of them I've never heard of. But we have services for all of them. All of them. So if you don't think you have a big market, you may need to rethink it, because it's massive.
Yeah, I mean, we're still just going through. I'm just leaving these slides up here long enough for people to kind of just look at and see what's actually out there. And so there is just tons.
Aerospace medicine, is that like astronauts or something? What is that? Aerospace medicine?
That was pretty cool.
That sounds pretty cool. Yeah.
So, I mean, these are the folks that can truly be any of your clients there, whether they're surgeons or, because again, I think some people think, well, gosh, how can I do billing for a surgeon? Isn't that a hospital billing? That's not a hospital billing, because if you've ever been hospitalized, you're going to get a bill from the doctor, from the anesthesiologist, from the person that brings your food to a hospital. I mean, you get all these different bills. And again, one of those is specifically for maybe your surgeon that you just had a general surgery. Was it last week, Adam, that we had Dr. Vicki Rackner on, and that's what she did, and she outsourced her billing, but she's a surgeon.
Yep.
All right, so now let's talk about a specialty, a specialty doctor. And gosh, we could talk about any of these specialties, whether it's podiatry or cardiology or urology, whatever other ologies that are out there. And let's just take those same numbers of those doctors seeing 25 patients a day. And again, this can be like in the clinic. And even though that they may refer these patients to a surgeon, but still there's specialties. And so that's what we're going to kind of look at, is those same numbers as we looked at with the family practice, except we're going to change one thing, and that's going to be the reimbursement. And it's amazing what can happen here. Now, we've got the specialist as urology because we actually got this from one of our licensees that actually does billing for a urologist. So these are real numbers here that we're looking at. Matter of fact, we actually had to reduce the amount of patients that doctor was seeing because they were at 30 to 35. So we just brought it back down just to the 25 patient mark. Again, just to kind of look at it kind of apples to apples comparison. So remember, that doctor was at $2,500 a day. Now you almost double that to $4,375 per day. And we run these same numbers again just through that same calculator as we mentioned earlier. Now we've gone to $87,500 per month in expected revenue for the doctor. And let's look at that of what it's going to get you at 6%. I mean, so now the numbers are really going to start jumping up. So, and instead of $150 a day, Adam, they're at $262.50 a day for the same amount of time. So before we go to the next slide, let's talk about the impact that someone could have if they went to a specialist working for the same amount of time, just bigger dollars.
And this is, again, just one doctor. We have licensees all the time that sign up groups of doctors all at once. So there are, and it's really pretty rare that you would find a urologist on his own these days.
Right.
Usually a group in a group, but a lot of those groups are looking to outsource their billing.
Yeah.
So you have major potential here. Oh, my light just went off. Hang on. I've got a motion sensor on my light. It randomly turns off on me. It doesn't think I need to work anymore. So, but
there you go.
Yeah. So anyway, you guys can do the math. You can go to the calculator on our website. You can bump the numbers up, and you can see how much you can make. It can be very, very lucrative based on your specialty. So
again, just run those same numbers again as we did earlier, and now with one doctor, instead of being at $39,000 a year with a family practice, you're at $68,000 a year with one doctor working less than 2 hours. Adam, again, it's just kind of mind-boggling that someone could spend less than basically 2 hours a day working with one doctor and nearly making $70,000 a year with one doctor.
It really seems pretty crazy, but I mean, you guys can talk to your ABS business coach and ask to speak with some of our licensees, and they can share some information with you, and you can see that it's real. it's legit.
So again, you can just, like I said, we're just showing this to you again, that you can go back and again just play with those numbers to whatever you want to be able to do. And because of the time, I think I actually had it where we could actually go out there, but I think I think we hammered it enough to let you know at least you can go to the website and then go plug your own numbers in there and be creative with them. And you may want to even drop down your percentage down a little bit, but don't go below 4% or really below 5%. Just keep it up to where you can do that. So really what makes us different as we move forward, because Adam, eventually we mentioned that without a client, you're not in the business, but we've got to say, how can we help that individual that's a brand new licensee of ours actually help them get a new client? And it's because really our technology blows the competition out of the water.
Yes. For those of you who have not been in the industry and haven't done much research, there are tons of different software platforms in a very broad range of some that work really well and some that suck. All right. So we've been doing this for so long. We know that we have some of the best technology available because we have used a few different platforms. We have a technology partner that built this platform for us, and we'd be happy to give you a demo of the system, by the way, if you guys want to reach out to your business coach to get one of those done. But it's so user friendly. It runs on any computer, any internet connected device. It's a fully cloud-based system. So anywhere in the world you can access the system. The doctors can use it to do prescription refills from their smartphone. They can check their schedule from the golf course. Anything they need to do, it's right there in the palm of their hand or on a tablet or an iPad or laptop or whatever. So it's pretty neat.
Yeah, you bet. And with ours, our iClaim and EMRX platform, as Adam mentioned, it's affordable. It's got mobile charting, and it helps increase the revenue. It's customizable. It's got all these things, and really one of the great things about it, and it's what's somewhat unique, it's all U.S.-based customer service too. It's certified. They've been around since 1998, so it can do any specialty, fully integrated with anything. And when we talk about integration, that's our own clearinghouse integration. So again, this is what separates us from everybody else out there. And again, as Adam mentioned, get with us. We would love to show you a demonstration of that. I think, Adam, you did one today. I did one today. We've got some more that we're doing this week. So don't be shy to look at it. And if you looked at it once and you want to kind of look at it again, we'd be happy to do that with you as well. So again, just some of the awards that we have. And here down, if you look into this, we use Black Book ratings at the beginning of this webinar, and they actually rate our EMR system for osteopathic medicine and OBGYN doctors as the #1 EHR for those groups. Those are the specialties that we're talking about there. That's the kind of income that you can be making and have the #1 rated EHR out there. So, we feel what we have here is one of the best things out there on the market. But again, there are other ancillary services, as Adam said, and I'm just going to, again, kind of turn this back over to Adam, let him kind of talk about each one of these, and obviously each one of these can actually make you money. So we're going to talk about Audit Guard and maybe the code right back to back here, Adam. So I'm going to turn it over to you and let you kind of talk about these services here.
Yeah, so I've been mentioning these ancillary services that we have. I mean, a licensee's primary service, obviously your bread and butter, as we like to call it, is the iClaim, billing service. That's the service you're going to make the most money on. But there's a lot of other issues that doctors have. There's a lot of issues going on in the industry right now that doctors don't even think about, that they need to be thinking about, and then this is one of them. So if they are not doing their coding properly, if they're not dotting their I's and crossing their T's and doing everything the way that they should, whether it's on purpose or not, they could get in trouble with Medicare. They could get in big trouble with Medicare. So if Medicare ever came in and did an audit, they could be fined up to $10,000 for each infraction. I mean, we're talking about, there have been fines of $250,000 for a small practice. It's crazy. So what this service does, we have a technology partner that will review the doctor's charts, and they will make recommendations and come up with a really nice report that says, okay, here's what you need to change, here's what you're doing that's fine, keep doing this, change this, and it makes all these recommendations for them so that if they ever were to be audited by Medicare, the chances of them being fined are greatly reduced if they have this Audit Guard service. And this is every single one of these services, you as a licensee get to make money on it, but you don't have to do the work. We have someone else doing the work for you. Same goes for CodeWrite. I mentioned that at the beginning of the webinar. If a doctor, well, a lot of doctors that you sign up, they don't need help with their coding. The coding is the numbers that are related to every ailment, everything that can go wrong with the human body. There's a code number that they have to use to send that to the insurance companies to get paid on. Well, some doctors will say, hey, I'm a specialist, I've got a lot of codes I'm trying to manage, can you help me make sure I'm coding properly? The answer is yes. So we have certified coders that have already gone through 2 years of certification, certified in ICD-10, all the latest codes, and we do the coding work for you, and then that gets sent to you as a medical biller, and you do what you normally do as a licensee medical biller. So that's another service. You can charge extra for that, and you don't have to do the work.
Before we go into some of these other services, Adam, Kent's asking the question, are these other services just provided for flat fees? You want to kind of talk maybe as best we can on how these fees work?
Yeah, so Kent, we actually have a document you can download. It's like a 40-something page PDF research guide, and it actually goes into detail on every service, how it works, and what the operational costs may be versus income you can make based on how many clients you have using that service. So every one of these services is slightly different, but typically there's a transactional fee that you are marking up, and you're passing that cost through to the doctors. For example, CodeWrite, most licensees are charging the doctors, $6 to $10 per claim to code the claim, and then they're paying our coders $3.50. So you're making a little bit of money on it, not a ton, but it's just nice to know, hey, you have a coding service and you don't have to do the work, right?
Yeah, yeah. And Robert's asked the same question. What about the cost of submitting those claims? So, Adam just answered those for you. Again, here's another one, AutoCard. So again, these are just other ancillary services that we can talk about, but this is to help the doctor increase their cash flow by sending out actual cards that are enveloped, they want an envelope to the patients. So it's a marketing campaign that you can actually help personalize that for your doctors and actually increase the cash flow for that doctor by like reminders of yearly exams or whatever else that might be going on with that. And you yourself can also use this for yourself as services to help you with your current potential clients too as well. So even this one's a dual service. But getting back to the doctor of just collections, I mean, Adam, again, we've got doctors that, I think one of the questions I get frequently is, am I going to be a collection agency?
Yeah, I do get that one a lot. Do I have to call little old ladies and try to pry their money out of their hands? No, you don't have to do that. We have a collections module that is completely optional. So if a doctor doesn't want to do it, they don't have to go after money that the patients owe that they're not paying. Some doctors, they don't want to be the bad guy. They just write that off and let's not worry about it. But there are other circumstances where they may want to. So we can put them on this quick collect service. And again, we have a partner that does the work. They do the phone calls and the letter writing and all that. And they actually charge less money than a traditional collection agency. So it's a good deal for everybody. And the licensees, again, you get to make money on it.
Yeah.
Without having to do the work.
And then Choice Pay is very similar. I mean, since the times since the Affordable Care Act has come and gone to some degrees, still deductibles have increased. More out for the patient that has to pay it out. And then, Adam, we know some patients can't pay their full deductibles at that time, so they need a way to maybe spread that over. Maybe some of them don't have a credit card. Choice Pay is one of those things that we can actually help set up for those doctors and have that, again, automatically take care of those small payments for the doctor and for the patient to actually get everything there automatically for the doctor.
Yep, they can also get on a payment plan to pay off a large amount that they can't pay all at once with this program.
Yep, you bet. And then the last one here that we'll talk about is iDocs Now. And I think I can remember someone asked about some of our services that we had that could be used for other industries, and this is one of them.
Yeah, I just did a demo with a gentleman today, and he was asking me about iDocs Now and saying, hey, it looks like I can offer this to other businesses, and I have this. He actually currently has a cleaning service franchise that he runs, and he said, yeah, I clean offices at this law firm, and every time I go there, they have more boxes filled with documents just stacked up all over the place, all over the rooms. He said there's even boxes of paper in the bathroom now, like they're completely out of room. And they have this paper just overflowing everywhere. He was like, can I help them? And I was like, yes, absolutely. Yes, so iDocs Now, that's exactly what it does, is you can scan and archive and index all of the documents, get them up in the cloud, get rid of those paper documents, and the system is fully secure. His question was, is it secure? Is it HIPAA compliant and all that? Absolutely HIPAA compliant. We use the same type of security measures that banks use for online banking. So it's as secure as it can get. And so, yeah, so you can offer this to law firms, government agencies, what else? Schools?
Private schools. I mean, a lot of maybe Christian schools or private schools or anything.
There's a lot of industries that have a ton of paper that they want to get up in the cloud. They just don't know how. So, yeah.
This is one of those services that you can push out there. So before we get to the next, we're kind of getting to the last part of the slides here, but Sanjeet asked this question. I'll ask it, and Adam, again, you can answer it. Sanjeet's asking, do you need office space for this business, or can I do this remotely from home?
Nope, no office space. The doctors certainly aren't going to come to you. So
Right.
you can do the work from home, which most people start out doing. And then eventually, if you want to grow the business, where you have people helping you, I mean, other people helping you with the work, you can do it all remotely. You can manage them all, remotely if you want to. Or you could get office space at that point, if you've got several clients and you've got the money to pay rent or whatever, you could. So that's just up to you. But no, you don't have to start out that way. No.
Yep, you bet. So, folks, what we've been able to do is take a snapshot of our entire business here. We showed you really zone in on what you can make on the core part of the business, which is the billing. And we kind of went through some of these other services there. And as Adam mentioned, you can make a little bit on these, but really these ancillary services, before we kind of leave this part of the webinar, a lot of times, Adam, a lot of our licensees just use this as part of their marketing, maybe just to get that engagement with that doctor's office, and then do that practice analysis that you got, that we talked about earlier, just to eventually get to the billing.
We actually have a service that we didn't even talk about today, Compliancy Guard. It's specifically regarding HIPAA compliancy, and this one is a great door opener because we've had licensees go into an office and say, hey, can I speak with your HIPAA compliancy officer? And the look on their face, they're just like, we don't have one of those, so they know right away, oh, crud, we're not doing everything that we should to be HIPAA compliant. So that's another service that we have. We have a service where we can help practices maintain their ongoing HIPAA compliance, and it's done through a web-based system. It's very easy to set up, and it's a very good door opener for our licensees. So.
Adam, Haley's asking, how are our services insured in case of a problem?
How are our services insured in case of problems? That is a great question. So first of all, the way that we help you set up your own business, because you set up your own entity with this, because we're not a franchise. So we help you come up with your own company name, your own logo, your own brand. And so the contracts that we have created for you, they're directly between the doctors and your company. But the way this business is set up, your liability is very, very limited. It starts with the fact that doctors, typically they're the ones that are making the coding decisions. That's where you can get into trouble, is if you're using the wrong codes and sending in the wrong codes and such. So the doctors are making those decisions, or we have certified coders that are making those decisions. You are not making those. So that's part of the reason why the liability is so limited. Now, in training, we talk about that. We talk about your liability, and also we talk about there are some licensees that opt to get what's called errors and omissions insurance, E&O insurance. So that is something that actually would be some additional coverage if you had concerns about that. But I would say less than half of our licensees probably get that insurance, Eric. I'm not sure, but a couple $100 a year for that. So hopefully that helps.
Yeah, and it's really, Haley, just how you're structured. But again, we can talk a little bit more about that again, and especially that's a great question you can ask Cynthia, who is our head trainer for our group there for our training workshop. She certainly knows that question there. Hey, Adam, right before, I think maybe a few more questions have come in, but before we do that, now we want to talk about, okay, can we get all of this? We've kind of got a knowledge now about what I can make, and I know we don't have time to go into a lot of marketing, but I wanted to at least show this part where not only have we developed one of these pieces of marketing, another one that's very similar to this is being generated right now as a book. And I think Dr. Brackner and Philip, Patrick talked about that last week about, nobody, when you get into marketing, if you go give just a brochure or your business card, that is usually going to end up just in the trash, but not a physical book. And kind of talk about the distinguishing of this particular book as a marketing campaign.
Eric, this book has been a game changer for our licensees, without a doubt. One of the questions we always get, why would a doctor want to use little old me, and let me do the billing for them? First of all, you're not little, you're huge. when you go through our program and you become a licensee of our company, you are a part of a nationwide network that processes thousands of claims every day. We have tons of resources for you to use, tons of technology and support partners to help you on the back end. We can provide references to the doctors, all kinds of stuff to build your credibility. But it starts with this book right here, because we have found over our years of doing this, doctors, they don't like to feel like they're being sold something, but they do love to be educated.
Yeah.
And that's really what the crux of this whole thing is doctors, they're not good business people. They're just not. They want to practice medicine. They don't want to worry about the numbers. That's difficult. So what we do is we can provide them education on how to really identify, okay, what is my revenue cycle, and what do I really need to be paying attention to make sure that I'm getting my maximum revenue and all that kind of good stuff. And that's all in this book. So it was written by Patrick Phillips, our founder, Vicki Ragnar, a retired surgeon, and they share the secrets of how to figure all that out. And what we have done with this book to immediately put your credibility through the roof is we now customize these books and put your name as a licensee, a certified medical revenue manager, as the writer of the foreword of this book. So we have the foreword already written. You can write your own, but we have one already written that you can use. And we print these books, give you these books when you become a licensee. And not only that, but we show you how to bookmark certain sections of the book so that doctors don't have to feel like they have to read the whole thing. Just highlights, just the highlights, so that, you know, in between patients or whatever, after the end of the day, they can just glance through there and learn. And what are they learning? They're learning that they need somebody outside the office to do the work, is what they're learning.
Yeah, you bet.
So
you bet.
So this book has been awesome, and yeah, that's included when you become a licensee. I mean, what better credibility is there for you to be the forward writer of this book, right?
And Adam, let's do this. Folks, if you'd like to get a copy of this book, we've got it in digital format. And let's just say those that are on the call today, if you'd like to get a copy of this, just get with your business coach that you've been working with here at ABS and ask them to email this to you. We'd love to see that, get that to you. And folks, we're actually giving you a lot of the tips that we actually teach in the training class. So if you're serious about getting involved in medical billing and the whole revenue cycle management, at least go through the book that we're going to give you here. So just simply ask for the book. We'll get you at least a digital copy of that.
And $19.99, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
no,
free.
For free. For
today
free.
only. Free.
For free only today. All right, hey Adam, I know that we're wrapping up here, and I'll let you kind of close this out with this, because really, whenever it comes down to it with any franchise or business opportunity, as long as I've been here with you guys, I know we're the only ones that actually even offer a money-back guarantee at all.
Yeah, so we've had this for years in our agreement. You can go through the entire training class, the live class, sit through all 5 days, Monday through Friday. If at any point you don't feel like this business is right for you, for whatever reason, it doesn't matter, you can just tell us, hey, I don't think this is for me. And we'll give you a full refund of your license fee, all the money back. So the only money you're out is the travel costs to get to Dallas, and that's it. And we do that because we want people that are 110% committed to this thing to be going out and building this business. So that's why we give you an out, and you know, we give you that little extra safety net there for making your final decision. I mean, we've had lots of people show up on Monday thinking, I'm probably going to get a refund, but let's just see what this is all about. And then by Wednesday, they're just like, wow, this is so much more than what I thought it was. This is awesome.
Exactly correct.
Yeah. There you go.